The boardroom fell silent as I clicked to the final slide of my presentation. The new budget numbers glowed on the screen, and I watched Karen's face transform from smug confidence to pure horror. Her perfectly manicured nails dug into the conference table as she processed the $5,000 increase in HOA fees staring back at her.
"What is this?" she shrieked.
"Who authorized this outrageous increase?" I adjusted my tie, savoring the moment. "You did, Karen," I said with a calm smile. "The moment you fined me $1,000 for swimming in my own lake." My name is David. For 15 years, I'd enjoyed my property in Willow Creek Estates, especially the pristine 20-acre lake that came with the deed and bordered the HOA community. That peaceful arrangement ended when Karen became HOA president, bringing with her a mission of order, a leather-bound notebook, and a measuring ruler. The trouble started on a sweltering Saturday. I was doing my morning swim when Karen shrieked from the shore, waving a clipboard. "You need to exit the water immediately. Swimming is strictly prohibited in community bodies of water."
I treaded water.
"This is my lake, Karen.
I own it.
Check the property records." She adjusted her manager-demanding sunglasses. "The HOA governs all shared natural spaces within our community boundaries. This lake borders HOA property, therefore, it falls under our jurisdiction." The certified letter arrived Monday, a 3-page document assessing a $1,000 fine for unauthorized use of community resources. I tried to reason with her, providing my deed and survey, but Karen dismissed me.
"The fine stands. The board has spoken."
I later learned this emergency session consisted of her and 2 allies meeting at Starbucks. The letters kept coming. Karen filed complaints, claiming I was creating an attractive nuisance, and started a vicious whisper campaign. Mrs. Henderson from 2 doors down asked if it was true I was opening an unlicensed water park. That's when I stopped playing defense. I spent the next 2 weeks buried in HOA documents, bylaws, and contracts going back 30 years. And then I found it, the smoking gun. An easement agreement from 1998 that allowed the HOA to use a portion of my property, the popular beach area and the maintenance road, for access to their section of the lake. The kicker? The agreement expired after 25 years unless formally renewed. It was now 2024. Nobody had remembered to renew it.
My lawyer laughed.
"She's fining you for using your own property, while her organization is technically trespassing on it. This is going to be fun." I waited until the next HOA board meeting, Karen's congressional hearing, to drop the bomb. I signed up for public comment, and when she called my name, I stood up with my own leather folder.
"Thank you, Madam President.
I'm here to discuss the expiration of the easement agreement between the HOA and my property."
The room went quiet.
Karen's gavel hand twitched. "As you may or may not be aware," I continued, sliding copies to the board, "the HOA's legal access to the northern section of Crystal Lake, including the beach area and maintenance road, expired 6 months ago. My attorney has drawn up a new lease agreement. The terms are quite reasonable. The HOA can maintain access for the low annual fee of—"
I paused for effect.
$5,000. The gasp from the audience was audible. Karen shrieked, $5,000? That's extortion. "That's market rate for lakefront access," I replied calmly, citing my commercial comps. "You're welcome to decline and lose access entirely. I'm sure the community would understand losing their beach area and having to drive an extra 4 miles around the lake for maintenance." The board members whispered frantically. The treasurer, Tom Bradley, pulled up the budget.
Karen looked purple. "You can't do this," she hissed.
"Actually, I can," I said, sliding the lease across the table. "You have 30 days to decide. After that, I'll be installing a gate." The next 3 weeks were glorious chaos. The same neighbors who had shunned me now focused their fury on Karen. The HOA Facebook group exploded with demands for accountability, featuring detailed breakdowns of how Karen's petty vendetta had cost every household an extra $160 per year. Facing a full-scale resident revolt, the board called a real emergency meeting. The vote was swift and unanimous. The lease was approved. Karen voted against it, but she was outnumbered 4-1. The budget was adjusted to cover the new $5,000 expense. The recall petition started circulating that night. Within a week, it had enough signatures. I made sure to time my next swim for the morning of the recall vote. As I floated on my back, I saw Karen campaigning alone outside the community center. By noon, her cookies were untouched. The results were announced that evening. Karen was removed from the board by a margin of 87%. She stood up, clutching her leather notebook. "This is a mistake. You'll regret this when property values plummet." Someone in the back actually laughed. Karen stormed out, her heels clicking like a countdown to her exile. The new board sent me a formal apology and a check refunding my original $1,000 fine. We renegotiated the lease to a more modest $500 per year. I celebrated by installing a new sign at the entrance to my section of the lake, "Private property, swim free." And below that, in smaller print, "HOA leadership not welcome." The last I heard, Karen had listed her house for sale. She learned the hard way that sometimes the smallest power can corrupt absolutely, and that swimming in your own lake isn't a crime, no matter what your clipboard says.